Always, thank you so much for being with us. I am really looking forward to everything that you have to say about the AI space, about the data science space, and how we got to where we are, how AI is the it thing now after being relatively quiet and unknown and almost uncared about for so long. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Thank you, Beck, for inviting me. I'm, like a great, it's a great honor, like you have invited me, and
Thank you so much.
it's, I'm really excited to, speak about the questions which you might have for the audience. And let me tell you a brief about my history. So I have been working as an AI engineer at IBM right now. Before that, I have been working in supply chain industry where I have been using different kind of optimization techniques and data science technique. So I have worked with companies such as Unilever. I have worked with O9 and in space related to supply chain industry. And as per my education, I have done masters in statistical computing, which
Mm,
is a subdomain of we can say data science only.
absolutely.
And yeah, and I have been staying in Bangalore these days, and yeah.
Now, the question that's to me that's burning, and I would like everybody to know. In your own words, can you please describe to us what is artificial intelligence? What is AI?
A tool which has its own intelligence, which can do automation or a task which helps human is AI. In technical terms, AI can be divided into different kind of ways. One is supervised learning, where we have the training data and the testing data, and then of course then there is unsupervised learning. We have all the data which is not labeled, or we can say that data is not from a particular set of classes or categories. Generative models such as ChatGPT or Gemini, these kind of models are from the unsupervised class learning.
Got it. So if I may break that down, artificial intelligence is a way to train a machine, essentially, in a specific task so that task can be automated without much human interference. And this training can take place as supervised or unsupervised. Thank you so much. Yeah, that to me makes perfect sense. One of the main topics I want to talk about today, AI is such a buzzword these days, right? Everybody wants AI, everybody wants to implement AI. And it's kind of funny. So when I was, first in the data analytics spaces and data science spaces, the data science space, the AI space was relatively small. People knew each other, and now this has just exploded. What do you think it is that made it so interesting to people so suddenly?
Some things in AI space are overhyped. Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
that some things are overhyped. So let me tell you, like in what I feel, my understanding, like to my depth, is that, like, let's say you take an example of computer vision. Okay,
Uh-huh.
like we have done lot of work has been done in computer vision, in object detection, in segmentation. The way we are kind of giving preferences to these kind of models such as generative AI models and all. I feel that, like, this computer vision is going, slipping away from the hand. So that thing, we don't have to do that. Like, and usually what happens, like, let's say we are using some generative AI model, let's say Chat GPT
Hmm.
or Gemini model. We feel that, like, it's doing magic, but behind the scene, it is not doing magic. As a technical or as a geek person, I know
Yeah.
that, like, that overhype bubble is gonna burst soon, and that is
Okay.
gonna hurt.
So you think there's a bubble that's going to get burst
I
eventually
think
over the
so. I think so. I
ah
think so.
interesting. I wonder, is it that everything got put into like a nice user interface with ChatGPT and Midjourney all of a sudden became really famous? So now
uh,
that there's something tangible there, I wonder if that's what attracted people to it all of a sudden, where to people like you, this is nothing new.
my understanding is that, uh, OpenAI,
Uh,
or let's say other companies as well, they have kind of we all know, like, as in, if we the power of deep learning
yeah.
is very much. Like it can solve. It has that capability that like if we are able to channel the information properly, and if we are like able to give the compute properly, we are able to solve any problem with
Mhm.
deep learning models. So OpenAI and other companies kind of like have channeled that in a way, in a right way. And that's where kind of and the main thing why it is becoming so famous among a person is that like let's say if let's say I'm a non-technical person,
Mhm.
and I want to write an email. So I can like use this tool to write an email, and it will like give me a whole kind of like a whole structure. So that's where it's bringing a value to a common person. And that's where it is it's becoming so famous among people, and people are like it is doing a magic, and it is doing whatnot. The people which are not that much into this domain, they are like over kind of hyping it.
To paraphrase, to someone who doesn't necessarily know what's happening under the hood, there's a lot of overhype happening.
Yes,
That
yes, yes.
explains
That
a
that is my understanding. Obviously, like that is my understanding. So the thing is, if you notice this, there was like with Bitcoin. If you remember, like during the COVID
Oh, okay.
pandemic, this thing was a lot with the Bitcoin also. But like right now, no one, like as in not a major chunk of people talk about it. uh, or like there's no that overhype thing which is going on.
Uh-huh.
But like that's why that's the whole thing, like as in that is gonna go down, like the level of this is gonna stabilize soon.
One of the things, and you can disagree with me here, one of the things that I see in AI that's happening that I did not see in blockchain is this rush, this fear of missing out for companies to implement AI into their system. Having that in mind, and you saying that this bubble will burst, where do you see AI being in 5 to 10 years? And how do you see the workplace change and our day-to-day life change in 5 to 10 years now that this cat is out of the bag?
Okay, okay. So that's a really interesting question. So like obviously, like the because I'm an AI engineer, I work with AI, and like the space AI will grow. It will grow. What I feel is that other spaces which are there, let's say a recommendation system, or
Mhm,
let's say time series problem, time series domain, or supply
mhm,
chain domain. So
mhm.
like as I told you, I have also worked in time series, or like in supply chain domain. So mm, in those field, like there's a lot of potential and a lot of ways in which AI can be implemented, and optimization can be done. Launch of tools such as Copilot, or these tools will help in both our professional journey, and in our personal journey also to some extent. And but given that like the scope which I feel is much more in other sectors or in other domains, if more research and more workforce has been dedicated to it.
I guess a bit of a more controversial question is one of the things that have been flying around is the amount of jobs AI will cost. Some will say many will lose their jobs. Some say new jobs will be created, right? What is your opinion on this?
AI is gonna like help us out in a best way possible. It can help us out to be more productive. It can help us
Mhm,
out to be more like we are more optimized, we are fast, our throughput is good. And but end of the day, a human is required, and that is gonna be there. But let's say if I'm last year, let's say without the launch of these generative AI models,
yeah.
let's say I was working with three different people, and they were doing some manual tasks and cleaning those or like doing some kind of pre-processing, data pre-processing or something like that. But now, because of launch of these generative AI models, I'm able to be more productive, and I'm able to do those tasks in an automated way.
Hmm.
Obviously, the people who are like doing that manual task and not using generative AI is gonna replaced by generative AI. You
Mm,
get my point. There's gonna be job cut, there's gonna be like more competition, but at the same time, if you know like how you can use these tools in a effective way, if you know how you can bring value to the company, obviously like it is you are on the safe side, and the people who are not using these tools and people who don't know how to use these tools are gonna get affected.
okay. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about both what it takes to make AI happen, as well as the ethical side of AI, which I think they're related. Now, one thing that I was a little bit surprised about when just talking to people, and especially people who claim to be AI experts, is let's say GPUs, right? The massive amount of GPU it takes to just make AI happen. In your opinion, do you think the amount of resources inputted to AI right now is worth it to the amount of output that we are getting?
right now right now because of this hype thing, and most people are like they don't know the inner working of it. Most people are using over extensive compute. You get that?
Yes, I do.
So they can do the same task with simple model. They can do the same task with
Mm,
smaller model. They can like use a model which is like which requires a very less GPU compute resource,
mhm.
but still they are using Chat GPT. Still they are using those like billions of model parameter models. So the thing is that is overkilling of resources,
Oh.
and that is not gonna be helpful from an environmental point of view. There are other models present, there are smaller models present. The monopoly which is being maintained, like we are overhyping one company or one set of model or tool. That overhype thing needs to go down.
The ethical side of AI, right, which is a hot topic as well. In the art spaces, it's training a specific artist's style so that anybody with a keyboard can click clack and get that style. Would you say this is plagiarism, or is this more inspiration on the machine side?
So there's a very thin line. Okay, what I feel is that companies at the end of the day are gonna deceive if they are like too much closed. So let's talk about this Meta, Facebook. Okay,
Sure.
if you remember like some few years back, Meta was being known as like the most notorious, or like who does everything behind the curtains.
They had
but
a reputation,
but
yeah.
they had that reputation that like they don't make anything public, and they do all that thing behind the curtains, and but now that reputation has changed. If companies are like too much kind of in their own circle, and they are not like open sourcing the experiments and the things which they are doing, they are like deceiving the people, and they are like not letting the invention grow the pace it should grow.
You just made a lot of friends in the AI community and the LinkedIn community. So basically, if I may paraphrase, the best way to be ethical about this is to make your models open source. That way, people see what a specific model has been trained on. So now you know how the sausage is made, basically. If the cat's out of the bag, open source is the most ethical way to do this. I completely agree with you. As we slowly start wrapping up, tell us, how can people get a hold of you, and how can people follow you and find out more about you?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. So it's Westcan9654, my username. And mostly like I have my Linktree page also. There have I have listed my contact details and my email
Mhm.
there. And I'm gonna post give you my contact details as well, and you can like post in the description section of
Wonderful.
this.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
It's fantastic to speak to somebody who is hands-on in the field, on the bleeding edge of technology, knows what's happening. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And yeah, please keep in touch.
Thank you, Beck, for inviting me. Thank
My
you for
pleasure.
those amazing words. I really enjoyed the session, and looking forward to it and how it goes. And thank you again. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. My pleasure. Anytime.